leadership is not a really easy job, and it's not for everybody. And I know a lot of people, they are confused between leadership and management. And that's one thing that I'm trying to see if I can clarify today. We have a lot of good leaders, and as I go through this session, I give you some example of real-world example of good leaders and some of the not so good. And I'll let you decide. But so I don't want you to leave this place thinking that I don't like leaders or I'm only focused on the negatives. But I think if we find a way to identify good leaders from not so good, it would help us as a society and organizations. Here's what I was trying to tell you. If you have not led a group and you have no desire to be a leader, you're in the wrong field. Because project management, by default, is a leadership role. It doesn't matter what they give the title or not. It's a leadership role. And if you don't believe that, if you don't perform that function, you're really doing two things. A, you're selling yourself short. And B, you are not serving your stakeholders. Because a project manager that is not a leader in his or her heart, and he doesn't function that way, has a problem. Or I guarantee you, you're going to have a problem. Now, but I want to start with a story. This is not a case story. This is a story that I heard. I'll call it Discover Your Own Golden Buddha. And here's the story. Back in 1957, a group of monks in Thailand, they were assigned to move this huge statue of Buddha to a new monastery. And it was a clay statue. And it was really huge. So these poor souls, they start moving the statue. And as soon as they moved it, like say 100 yards or so, they realized there's a crack on the side of the statue because the way they moved it. So they decided to, so to speak, sleep on it and maybe brainstorm in the morning and find out what's the best way to move this, cargo to the new monastery without damaging it. Well, I'm sure in every team there is one. One of the monks couldn't sleep at night, just curious, and he wants to find out why the crack showed up, because he was sure they did the best they could. So here's what he did. He went and he got a flashlight, and he went and tried to examine the crack from close up. And as he got closer and closer and looked at that crack, he saw something shiny behind that crack, behind those clay. So he started chipping away a little bit more of that clay. And he realized it's really shiny. Well, he couldn't control himself. By morning, he had chipped away the entire clay. And he could not believe what he discovered. There was the entire statue was made of solid gold, which it was covered by clay. So when other monks, they got up in the morning and they came and they looked at it, they were shocked. Where that came from? Because when they went to bed, they had a clay cracked statue of Buddha, and look at what they got now. So they asked him, he said, this is exactly what happened. Once they looked into it, they find out a few centuries ago, when the Burmese army was advancing, and they were killing everybody in their path and taking anything that was of any value. The monks at the time, they decided the best way to hide this precious statue was to cover it with the clay. Clever, really, tricks. But what happened when the army came, it killed all the surrounding villages and all the monks. So the secret was buried by the monks. And he accidentally found out this golden statue. The point I'm trying to make is, we also as a human being, we create those protective clay shields to protect us against things that we don't like, or they make us uncomfortable. And the only way that you can really tap into your potential is to start chipping away that clay and let your golden Buddha or golden statue of yourself to show up. So if in your heart you want to be a leader, but you're afraid that, to be a leader, probably I have to get up and talk a lot. Well, I can't do that. That's not for me. That's a clay. You have to start breaking away that clay. Or different things for different people. The point is, find your passion and don't let a small shield that you made and you build around yourself over the years to stop you from achieving them.